Hello. So my problem this week is uh, how do you motivate people all year round and seasonally? Because I think it needs different things at different times. But in order to motivate other people, you have to make sure that the team that is doing the motivating are themselves motivated. And we speak about people being self-motivated, and that's the true way of getting someone to be completely and utterly motivated, is that they're self-actualizing. That if you just look at basically Maslow, but that doesn't work for everyone. So how are we moving from rung to rung to rung, but at the same time, the team that needs to do the motivating have to be motivated themselves? So can unmotivated people motivate people? It's that constant thing. And how do you maintain a cycle of that? Especially if you think about now where we are, we're at hopefully the end of a difficult period. So how are we going to get back into this? How do we keep up the energy for it?
Bad. I mean, you say energy. Sorry, you haven't asked us to take to the bottom yet.
Shall we? That's it. Let's take that to the bottom.
I mean, you use the word energy, and it's kind of like energy transfer, isn't it? It's like it's funny you said something about being self-motivated, but are self-motivated people good motivators? Because if I'm motivated internally, I might just presume that so will you be, and the things that represent motivation to me aren't obvious to someone else, so the energy transfer gets shut down. So you could even have it, and you're saying the team's responsible for the motivation. There's somebody responsible for motivating that team too.
That's the issue.
So it starts from the very top. And so it's deciding, I mean, would you say yourself, are you motivated or self-motivated? Or a bit of both?
Well, it changes week on week, I suppose, or day by day, but it's both, I suppose.
So is that another problem then, having to even know, first of all, what motivates me, let alone how I motivate the next person?
It's the energy for your own motivation, because I don't think you can motivate other people if you're not motivated yourself. I think that. But also it's maintaining that is difficult to do all year round, to try genuinely, meaningfully motivate people. It's energy that's really needed for that.
And when you say that energy and motivation, when you motivate someone else, there is an energy transfer, especially if the person you're trying to motivate does not get motivated. So now you can become demotivated in that transfer rather than that person becoming motivated. And now rather than two motivated people, we have two unmotivated people.
That's exactly it. That's so true. That is actually it. Because the thing that you think you didn't work.
Yeah.
And now you're like, well, now I've got to go back and start again and have that conversation again. Or
no, I don't want to do this anymore. I mean, we've all been there. We've all been where you have a good idea, or you think you've got a good idea, and you share it, and it gets killed, and you go, yeah, maybe it was a crap idea. And then no one's got any ideas, and now you're sat there hating life, thinking, I don't want to do this anymore. Especially when it's something potentially already with negative consequences, and you're trying to rescue it with motivation. And so something's not going well, and you stepping in saying, okay, here's something we can do to fix it. But the cloudiness, the fog overwhelms the new idea, and you're worse than where you started.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
It is terrible. And this is my problem. I think that happens. It's been happening, especially now, especially when it's just hard. Life is just hard.
Yeah.
You get bad news and...
So it's like, and to make it really bleak, it's like you're stuck in like a desert, a hot desert. And it's like you're starving and you're thirsty and you're looking for water and there's nothing around. And then suddenly you see a well and you're like, oh my goodness, it's a well. And you look down and there's water. And so you lower down this bucket and you drop the bucket. And now you're like, oh my God,
I dropped the bucket.
Well. And now you've got no motivation because you had a problem, you thought you had something to solve it, and now it doesn't. What do you do now?
Don't know. Charlie, what else can go wrong, do you think?
Well, I just think some of the stuff you guys were saying before about how it can be, you think you've got an ideal, you think you've got a solution, and you bring that to someone and they can just kind of just destroy that. Or it could even just be, a thing that you have that just doesn't work well at all. I tend to try and be quite an optimistic person, so I'm struggling to take this one to the bottom. I try to keep the motivation there. I try. But one thing I would say actually, that I think maybe is a little bit of a challenge to something that was said before. I don't think you necessarily have to be motivated all the time to motivate people all the time, because no one is motivated all the time. Like, it's just not possible to be motivated all the time. Yet you have to continue to
be your job,
to lead, to bring things forward, to move things in a certain direction.
There's another bad thing that can happen when you're trying to identify people's motivations. You can offend people if you get their motivations wrong. So if you're assuming that, for example, in a workplace, you might think, oh, I'll throw more money at it. Or it might be that you promise them a promotion. It could be something that you think you're dangling a carrot. And it's like, no, that's not what I'm in it for. Actually, if you think about healthcare, if you go to a nurse who cares passionately about this client getting the best care, say, oh, I'll just do it, we'll give you more money. That could really lose that person. And so by getting someone's motivations wrong, we see it all the time in the government, don't we? When we hear stuff, it's like, if they get it wrong of, oh, we're doing this because we want that, you can really upset people and offend people and lose them even more. And that can reflect badly on your leadership.
Yeah, so if you've not done your research properly about what motivates people, you see, that can be, that's so, like, imagine you're a large company now. You've got to get your managers and those managers and to understand that and to have that conversation with your individual staff members.
Yeah.
That's hard to do and to filter across the organization, so that when you're doing your staff surveys and you get a response back saying that people aren't motivated, well then what level of the lack of motivation is acceptable? Because there's always going to be a bunch of people who that message hasn't got to, or they've got other things that are stopping their motivation at work.
Yeah, of course.
Certainly. So
what types of motivation do you care about? Is it if somebody's not getting job satisfaction, if somebody's not got enough money, if somebody's just lost zeal, or doesn't care about the end result, or doesn't believe in the thing the company's trying to do? You have to determine which one it is. That's hard to do.
And it takes a lot of time to do that. At the moment, I can't see how you can truly get that right for everybody in your team.
No.
Especially if you're a large team.
No, if you're doing it by yourself, it has to be a collaborative. And it starts from hiring people who believe, like letting them know what your goals are for the company, the vision statement, the ethos of the company. Making the pay structure clear to people so they understand how they can progress financially. Because the more they know and the more they participate in their own motivation, the easier it is for you to meet them there.
Well, that leads us to, what do we do to help that so that you get the most out of everyone and motivating them? So if we accept that actually you can't motivate everyone at every time, but actually we expect an 80% motivation satisfaction rate, then what is it that we've got to do to get there, and to motivate ourselves to do that if we still think that that's an agreed thing, but we might disagree.
I think on a personal note, or an individual level, I think, first of all, it's worth probably acknowledging that everyone has peaks and troughs. So I think when you analyze yourself and you're saying, okay, maybe I don't feel motivated at the moment, like you said, some of this stuff is seasonal. You'll go through thick, long periods where you're doing a lot of work, and then maybe you come to the end of that and maybe you just feel a little bit worn out, or I don't know, whatever. It could be a plethora of reasons, but people go through peaks and troughs of this stuff. I think it is important to try and put in place, I don't know, without getting too like organizationally, but like systems to help motivate people. So some of the stuff that Deola was saying, keep people informed of incentives, stuff like that, targets, KPIs. Things for people to work towards, even when, on the day-to-day operational level, you lose sight of the organization's ambition, strive. You don't have the mission statement in your mind. You don't have the vision in your mind on a day-to-day. It's just not there. So yeah, targets, KPIs, that kind of thing. And I know some of that can feel a little bit like cracking the whip sometimes. But I just think as humans, if we don't have those regular check-ins, we can drift a little bit. And it's easy for
I agree. I think it's that the who, the what, the why, isn't it? It's like each decision you make, who does it impact? What is it going to achieve, good or bad, and why are you doing it? And if you know that, even in terms of keeping yourself motivated, it's what is the impact of my decisions? And if I've been running a company for a long time and it's a bit stagnant, okay, what if I stop? Who does it impact? And knowing who it impacts and why I'm doing what I'm doing might help motivate me at times. I'm going to have moments of feeling demotivated. That's normal. And there's countless motivation models out there that we could talk about today, which probably won't go into the theories. But I think knowing why you're doing things is huge, and knowing why the people underneath you want to do what they're doing as well. And the only way sometimes they can know why is if you give them the information. You have to be a bit more transparent than what you'd be in a company where you didn't care about the motivation and you paid them to do the job. If you want them to care, they have to have more information than if you just say, we'll just do the job.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the why is very, very, very important. I mean, there's so much out there, you know, find your why, Simon Sinek. That was a big thing. And
are we saying that also, then some of this is perseverance?
Some of this is perseverance.
And stamina with it.
Some of this is perseverance and stamina. But I think also some of this is finding out people's individual whys, their drives, their motivations, the things that make them do what they want to push them
but I mean persevering with that, like, because you can do it once and that's great, you've done it once, and then it's remembering to go back to it week after week, month after month, year after year.
I do think you can make some of it simpler for yourself by simplifying discovery kind of thing, where if somebody is self-motivated at all, make it easy for them to be. So it's easy for them to find information of their pay scale, of who their job role, who it impacts. Their manager says to them every time there's a new task, this is why we're doing it. And it allows that person who doesn't need it spelled out to them a chance to find it out themselves. And then the people that need it done for them, you can focus on them for however long you need to do that. But I think if you're keeping information to yourself and your cards close to your chest, you can't be surprised when your good staff are going, I don't know why I'm here anymore.
Yeah, information is key. Information is key because it brings people in and makes them have that sense of ownership. And this is something that we are all part of, which, you know, is a motivating factor on its own.
Okay, so I suppose there's loads of solutions there, but the chosen solution and a radical solution.
Radical, you could, just go back to cracking the whip. You know, we got to hit 30 sales of this type of model, otherwise you are gone. And then just like look them deadpan in the face when you say it. And I think that can be motivational in a way.
For some people, I suppose.
Sink or swim.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
I think obviously we've discussed some of the more it's long. I think as we described in most of these, the radical thing to do is normally quick and easy, or easier, or it seems that way at least. And the good thing to do, quote unquote, is takes more time and more energy. And so it really is, first of all, setting aside the things that motivate people and making it, leaving it open to them, sharing in things that you think might motivate people, giving them a range of solutions for them to motivate themselves. And if they can't motivate themselves, then you meet them in the middle. But I think the best thing to do is to give people what might motivate them, let them see it, make it visible for them as best as you can.
Okay. Some good solutions. Thanks, guys.
Take care.